Release and let go with love. It's as simple as that. That is your message from the moon on this last quarter that we have happening in Taurus, August 16th, 2025. This is the final phase of the moon and the end of a story that started way back in May of 2023. It came to culmination in November of 2024 on a very, very potent full moon that involved Uranus, the planet of unexpected surprises. Now, we're 9 months past that full moon, and we have the benefit of time on our side to look back on that time of the full moon with some emotional clarity. Clarity that we often need to fully complete these stories and put them to rest. Hi, I'm Laura Kusto, the moon phase astrologer and your life strategist for rhythmic living. And I'm here to help you use the lunar cycles to make sense of the world, to calm the pace of modern life by reconnecting with your own inner rhythm. Using the rhythm of the moon and the wisdom of astrology, you can move from reactivity to operating with intention. Now, the best way to start working with the moon is by following the moon. It is our closest celestial neighbor, and so it has the most, quote unquote, to say to us. It also governs our emotions. And so when we're feeling anything and we're trying to make sense of it, the moon is nature's gift to us. It gives us all the clues that we need to figure all of that out and find peace. So to help get you started with this, I created a free guide. I call it the Moon Phase Compass. You can download it at lauracusto.com/guide, and it'll get you started on understanding these 4 primary phases of the moon. These 4 phases repeat every single month. Now, they are always covered with the flavor of that particular month, but the foundational ways that we work with them from month to month to month doesn't change. And the guide is what gets you started on developing that very foundational understanding that is just simple and core to living in alignment with this natural phenomenon that we have. I'll put a link for that guide at the top of the show notes. All right, now let's talk about this last quarter and why this release is coupled with the theme of letting go with love. So first, I'm going to take you on a little trip down memory lane and piece together the story that has unfolded. One of the things I love about these moon phases is that there really is a very predictable pattern to them. So there are always dates that we can look to when we get to the phases beyond the new moon. There's always a date that'll bring us back to where the story started, as well as how it's transpired the farther along we go on the journey. So on these quarter moons, the first quarter and this last quarter, the moon is at an angle of tension with the sun. And the moon, which oversees our emotions, when it's in an angle of tension with the sun, which represents ourself, well, we're going to feel uneasy. We're prone to feeling tension. And when we feel tension, what do we want? We want it to go away, right? So we wonder what we should do. It's very, very natural. You will naturally get instincts very, very powerfully on these quarter moons to do something, okay? So now the last quarter is very different from the first quarter. At the first quarter, we're building something and we're moving something along. The last quarter is different in that we are ending something. And what we need to do in the last quarter is release something, stop doing something, clear something out. And we do this so that we can create space for new to come in, and we're not, we're dealing with an overgrown garden here, right? So to ease this tension, the first thing that we need to do is we need to gather up the clues from the prior moon phases related to this last quarter to just understand the story that's unfolded and figure out where are we, what needs releasing. Okay, so this last quarter is happening in Taurus. Specifically, it's happening at 23 degrees of Taurus. So we're going to look back to the last full moon that happened at 23 degrees of Taurus. And I mentioned this at the very beginning. It was in November of 2024, November 8th to be precise, which was right after the US election. It was a very tense and heightened time for our entire world. So you want to go back and look what came to a culmination point for you, not the world, for you in your life, okay? And that full moon was also conjunct Uranus, which is, again, it's the planet of unexpected surprises and sudden breakthroughs. It's very unstable. So take a look back and see what transpired there. I'm going to encourage you, take some time with this one. I'm going to give you 2 more dates to look back to, but the full moon is usually the most important if you're stretched for time or you don't have a lot of records. So again, what truth came to light for you around November 8th, 2024? Next, the other 2 dates. So the first quarter that happened near that point in the sky, 23 degrees Taurus, was February 16th, 2024. So if you look back to that date, you want to look for, it would have been action that you would have taken specifically to move things along. So we're looking for commitments that you made, and you would have had to interact with the world outside of you. It can't just be something that you decided in your head that you were going to do. You actually had to send an email, go talk to someone, set up an appointment, again, interacting with other people, interacting with the world. Finally, the new moon that you could look back to was May 19th, 2023. All right. So at that point, you would be wanting to look for, what were you dreaming? What was your self-talk? And did you set new moon intentions? If you did, great, look at those. And all of those data points together will give you some sort of a story for what has transpired. And those will be your clues that you're going to take with you here into step 2, okay? Which is where we check ourselves, okay? Specifically, I want you to ask, are you being stubborn? This entire story has unfolded in the sign of Taurus. I'm a Taurus sun, so I am very guilty of this, and I know this energy very, very well. Taurus is a fixed sign, and it is the only fixed sign in the element of Earth, so it's the earthly realm. So are you being stubborn with respect to things, people, situations that involve how you interact with or are viewed in this earthly 3D tangible realm? Now, really get honest with yourself. That unsettling full moon that we had back in November, linked directly to this last quarter, look back to that. Did something happen then that was so unsettling that it prompted you to dig your heels in, hang on a little tighter, and try harder? And if so, how is that going for you? Is it working out for you? Usually, those are not great situations. Sometimes it's worth the fight, sometimes it's not. But be honest with yourself here. And if it's not, this last quarter is your signal to consider a different alternative. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but we're going to just open up to the idea that we could consider something else, okay? Now, a quote that comes to mind here is, would you rather be right or would you rather be happy? Don't let stubbornness keep you from happiness. Finally, the last step is to release. And actually, more specifically, release and lovingly let go. Now, the more effort that we put into something, the harder it is to let go when it doesn't work out. The harder we fight to hang on, the more we'll put up with. It's because our inner ego is literally screaming at us. No, you can't let go, or else I was wrong, and that means I failed, which means I did something wrong, and on and on and on. But in reality, hanging on to something just for ego's sake, well, isn't that the ultimate failure? Because you're betraying your true self. Now, this is not easy. I've done it a bunch of times in my life, and I'm telling you, it never, ever gets any easier. But a view that has served me well is, if I continue on this path, am I not doing more harm than good? Because I'm not going to be at my best. And sometimes it really helps to flip that, who am I harming when I'm not at my best, to harming yourself. Yes, you are always harming yourself when you're not at your best. You're not living up to your full potential. But flip it to the people around you. Who are you hurting by not being at your best? Sometimes when we make it about others, And this is true of so many other types of motivation. For example, Joe Dispenza loves to talk about the highest form of motivation being mission-driven motivation, when you make it about something outside of yourself. So do that, flip it on its side. And it's very easy to do this with every major life decision, especially when it comes to hanging on to things and realizing, again, I'm not going to be at my best. Make it about the people closest to you, the people that love you, the people that rely on you. I often make it about my child. And I think about what I want to offer to her. How can I be at my best? And if hanging on to this one thing is going to keep me from being at my best, and then I can see how it's not going to allow me to show up as the best mom that I could be, well, then that often gives me the motivation that I need to then realize, okay, I can't hang on to this anymore. And then I can enter that final step of trying to figure out how I'm going to let it go, right? And then this lovingly letting it go piece, you can do that once you reach that rational point, right? Letting go of something should never, ever, ever feel like something you're being forced to do. We all need to reach that point of our own volition, because that's when it's genuine and authentic. And when you have that internal motivation of, okay, I really do need to let this go. I really want to let it go. It is self-sourced. And then I have the clear head that I need to do it with love, to dismantle it with love, or to, sometimes you just got to rip the Band-Aid off, right? And letting go, again, it's never ever easy, especially when we've worked really, really hard to keep something intact. But when we know it's the right choice, then we're only creating space for the good and the new to come in. We've outgrown it. And that's okay. That's another really great realization. What you're letting go of may have very well served you at one point in time. And the fact that it doesn't now isn't bad. It just means that it has bloomed, and now it's been harvested, and it's time to clear the garden and let it go. All right, there you have it. Now, one last thing that I want to mention is around the area of life that Taurus oversees for you. There will be an area of life where this last quarter is focused based on your astrology chart. So for example, Taurus, does it rule your money? Is it overseeing love? Is it your career? Is it your home or your friends? Each sign rules one of the 12 areas of life. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I have a couple of offers for you. One is called Moon Map and the other is Moon Chat. Now, Moon Map is a very simple course that takes you through a process to get your, what I call, map. And you can use this map for each and every moon phase for the rest of your life. It's going to tell you what area of life Taurus oversees, as well as all the other zodiac signs. So every time you tune in and you hear where the moon is, you can go use your map to find out what's being activated for you. Now, Moon Chat takes it a little bit further. It's a monthly membership, and when you sign up 2 days before each moon phase, you get an email, custom based on your birth chart, that tells you, hey, we've got a new moon in Taurus, it's activating your money. Here's how to use it. So either of those is a really great way to get more specific and work with these moon phases in a very intentional way. I'll put a link for both of those, Moon Map and Moon Chat, at the top of the show notes. All right, with that, I'm going to recap this Taurus last quarter and how to let go with love. Again, step 1, we're going to get our bearings. Go and look back to those dates that I gave you for the full moon, which is your big clue, as well as the new moon and the first quarter that happened right around this 23 degrees of Taurus. Get your bearings to start to piece together the story. Then step 2, check yourself. Specifically, are you being stubborn? Are you holding on to something simply because you fought really, really hard for it and your ego is getting in the way? The question, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? And then step 3, release and lovingly let go. Honor the situation for what it was, but also acknowledge that it doesn't work anymore. Ask yourself, who am I hurting when I'm not at my best? And what do you want to do with your one precious life? That will help you lovingly release. Okay, that is a wrap for this week. Thank you so much for being here. And I'm going to end with a question and an invitation for you. I'd love to know what's coming up for you. What are you releasing on this Taurus last quarter? Please drop a comment below. I'm cheering you on. It's a big deal, I know. And trust me, I don't know at the time of this filming what I'm going to be releasing at this Taurus last quarter, but I will. I will be letting go of something. I do every single last quarter. All right, with that, until next week, enjoy the last quarter and take care.